Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm back with a what's in my cart video. We're going to do a little bit shorter, more condensed version of it just for the sake of time. I am back in school full time, and this is the first week, which is usually less course load, like less work, and I have literally no time in my life. So I'm a little nervous about how this semester is going to go. I had hoped I would have some time during the week to film, but unfortunately it looks like only Fridays are going to be really my day to get filming done. So that is going to kind of determine how I work through my kits this month, the types of videos we're doing, all of that goodness. So just bear with me. We're gonna power through the next few months. So this video is for the Who You Are devotional from ByTheWell4God. I didn't double check, but I do believe there are still some kits left in the shop. I do know some things from the release have sold out. And so if you head on over there, if I show you something and it's not there, that means that it's sold out. I'm sorry. But I'm just trying to give you guys some ideas. You can always, go through your stash and adapt what I show you with something that you already have. So just know that. So we're working through Who You Are in the month of September. I know some of the gals from the team have already been sharing videos of how they are going to be working through this kit. I think I've landed on this method for this month because this will be kind of portable and easy for me. And so in the past, I've done a few of these deconstructed Devos. This is Son of Man. I do actually believe they may have restocked this particular kit in the shop if you missed this one. But what I did was you'll see little peeks of the devotional. So I actually took the devotional booklet and took the staples out, cut it apart, and then used my cinch machine to bind it. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to bind it this way or if I'm going to use binder rings. I haven't thought that far ahead. Like I said, this weekend's my first weekend I actually can get back into my office and start processing September's kits. So we'll just kind of see what happens. But this is kind of my idea as we're looking at the things that I pulled for my cart. And so I deconstruct it so it's got the devotional in there. And then I add these center pages and cards and things like that, that then I can work on the cards, work on tags, work on, journaling pieces and add those in. And so I think that I can put this together ahead of time. And then if I want to just throw it in my backpack and take it with me, I can work on it. I don't know. I literally only have a 10-minute lunch between all my classes this semester. So I'm like standing in the back of my car, wolfing down food in like 5 minutes in between classes. And then I have a night class. It's a little chaotic, but we'll see. I just think that maybe this will be a way that I have, more time maybe to kind of dip in and out and just add little notes. And especially because this devotional is very, very scripture heavy. It's kind of broken into topics and sections. And so I just think that this might be a little bit better. So this is probably going to be my plan for how I'm going to be working through the kit. So just kind of keeping that in mind as we look at the things that I have pulled together for it. I don't have as many things in my cart. That's why I didn't do the intro of showing you my cart all put together, because it really is not a ton of stuff. The new stuff is all you see right here. One, for the sake of time, and two, like I said, I'm not going to be doing individual Bible journaling pages, so I'm not going to need as many, mediums and paints and things like that as I typically would do if I was working in my Bible or a journal or something like that. If this is the first What's in My Cart video that you are turning into, first off, I'm sorry. This is not how they typically are. You can go back and watch my other What's in My Cart videos to kind of see how I organize things, the different tiers, the cart that I use, the organization systems. Those don't change. Those stay the same. So if this is your first cart video, you can go back and refer to one of those other ones to kind of see, what the cart looks like all put together. I think I will have some photos on the thumbnail for this video so you can kind of see it, but we're just trying to get things done, folks. So this is for Who You Are. And so, of course, the top of my cart is all of the kit release stuff. So if you're wondering what was released with the kit, you can go to my unboxing video. That will be linked down below for you guys. So you can see all of that goodness. So I keep all the new stuff on the top tier, including the new stamps, stay on the top tier. And then the second tier is usually things that I've pulled from my stash that will coordinate with this release. And so I use these Y-Weave baskets. I originally got these from Target years and years and years ago, but now I've seen them Walmart, Amazon, everybody is carrying these. And you just need to look, the way that I determine the sizes that I need, Off to a great start. We're throwing things. The way that I determine the sizes is I measure out what's going to go in here, and then I check the measurements on the listing. Always check the measurements because they have different sizes. There's even a larger size than this that I keep all my stamps in. And so then depending on whether, I keep it long ways or maybe turn it this way, you can hold different things in it. So when you're ordering, just kind of check that. Let me grab those stencils. Okay, so maybe we should do stencils first just so that I don't throw them off of my table again. I'm feeling a little frazzled, guys. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. So, okay, so for stencils, I keep them on one of these little binder rings. I have a large binder ring for my By the Well ones. I have a large binder ring for my Tim Holtz and other company stencils, and then I have a smaller one. So I'll go through all of my stencils, pull out the ones that'll coordinate with a specific kit, and then keep those on a smaller ring in my cart. And that way I'm not having to flip through all of my stencils as my, collection has grown. I know that I've got specific ones, pulled out already to match the kit. And so if you missed my unboxing video, I showed the 3 new stencils with this release. I know this one has sold out, but I showed you, how I also use stencils to do dry embossing with paper. And then I'm hoping to get a chance to film this technique of like stamping down with the stencil and then blending through the stencil to get kind of a multicolored look. So I do, of course, have the 3 newest stencils tucked away in that little stencil binder ring. But then I've also pulled out some things from my stash. Now, I don't link everything because it's hard to see what is in stock and not in stock, and that's ever changing. So I do have all of the names. So if you go over to ByTheWell4God and just search the name, if nothing comes up, that means that it's been sold out, because a lot of these stencils are from past kits, even years and years ago. But there are still some. I think maybe even this one might still be in the shop. So you just kind of have to peek over there and see. So I just put like a general link down below for you guys. So just trying to go through and think of things that, depending on the colors that I use, I can kind of change it. So this is dahlias. There aren't necessarily any dahlias, in the graphics this month, but if I did this in really deep, cranberries and burgundies, I think that it would go really well with the colors of the kit and give me, a floral background. I could also run this through my die cutting machine, not die cutting it, but just embossing on some of the pattern papers like that really pretty, I'm trying to find it sitting here, this cranberry paper. I could dry emboss this cranberry paper with this stencil and have that texture. So those are just some of the things I'm thinking with the stencils, not always, texture paste and stenciling through it, but also using it for embossing. So there is dahlias from ByTheWell4God, Fearless Florals. So lots of fall is kind of what I was going for. Floral Remembrance. So again, if I did this in, yellows or burgundies, I thought that it would go well. Now we're not fully into leaves and acorns and pumpkins and all of that, but I am so antsy and ready for it to be that time that I did pull out a few of those types of things. This is my favorite time of year, and these are the season specific. You have a very short window that you can use them. And so while we're not fully into fall, there is a lot of foliage and flowers and things like that. So maybe we're not into full browns. Maybe we're still greens. I do have some leaves out in my yard right now that are like orange, yellow, and green. So, kind of leaning more towards those colors with this will coordinate with this set. So scattered leaves. Scattered acorns. Again, we're not acorn time yet with the kit, but I need to use all the fall things. Abundant vines. So this definitely gives that feel of sunflower vines. So pulled that out. And then just some various floral ones. We have lilies of the field, lush ferns. So especially if I'm working in, this is True Vine, doing something like this, I'm going to do lots of kind of background stenciling or, textures. If I'm doing like cards, I could do a little bit of stenciling on the edge. And so just trying to find some things that would work good for backgrounds. So True Vine. There are some hymnal things in here. Trying to find this one. Okay, so there was this hymnal, like really aged hymnal paper. So I pulled out the various hymnal things that I have. Now, it may not necessarily be, you know, a hymn that matches the kit per se, but if I'm only using bits and pieces of it, I don't really mind so much. So One Who Serves, and again, I think these are lilies, so this was more of like an Easter stencil if I remember correctly, but if I did this more, you know, deep oranges and yellows, then it would go along with the kit. How Sweet the Sound. Distressed Ledger. So we do have that new stamp register. So I was kind of thinking along those lines with the stencil. So there's Distressed Ledger. Lots of textures like burlap and linen and things like that. So gauze, I thought would be a good one. And then there was a kit last year. I don't even remember the name of it. I know, Yvonne, you've got me. When this stencil came out, Farmhouse Ceiling. So this whole release has that farmhouse feel, right? There's the curio cabinets, the greenhouses, the cows, the roosters, all of that kind of stuff. So this particular kit, if I remember correctly, leaned more of the blues, like speckled egg. I'm drawing such a blank. Connor just had a doctor's appointment and it was not great. So my brain is fuzzy. So, you know, changing up the colors and just using this as a background element. So Farmhouse Ceiling, sticking with the textures of fabrics. So Stitched Houndstooth. I thought maybe this in like deep, deep browns or even black would be pretty. And then the stickers, there were a ton, and the die cuts. There's a ton of these suitcases full of the flowers. So I went ahead and pulled out Prepare, because it's got those suitcases. And I definitely won't use all of these. I'm just kind of giving you guys some ideas for things that you can pull from your stash. So just a couple here from Tim Holtz. We have Dot Fade. And then, of course, Autumn Leaves. So these are a bigger leaf than the ones that are in the ByTheWell4God. So those are the stencils I have pulled out for this month. And again, everything goes nicely on that little binder ring. And then these just live in my cart. If I'm working on multiple kits that maybe, you know, share a stencil, then it can get a little tricky. But I know not everybody works on, you know, several different kits a month like some of us do. And so this would definitely work for you. And a great way to remember what's in your stash and to use what's in your stash, to put together one of these carts, pull out those things specific to the kit for the month. And then you're not having to go through your whole stash. If you don't have an entire room dedicated to Bible journaling like I do, maybe you just have like a couple of boxes or a box, then you're just kind of having to, you know, rifle through things. And so this makes it easier to remember what you have. Okay, talking about embossing folders. I obviously love texture. I don't need to add embossing folders because I can emboss with the stencils like I showed you. But again, just trying to use what's in my stash. So there's this one, which is Leaf. These ones are neat. They've actually discontinued these, but there are still some out in the world being sold. The stock isn't completely gone, so you may just have to hunt to find this one if somebody's still carrying it. But these are in presslets, and so you can actually see the silver. This puts texture. So here is an example of, you know, embossed paper with the texture, but it also cuts out the shape of the leaf at the same time. So it's a large leaf and a small leaf. I have used this a ton. Every fall I use it. I've done, you know, all these different, like even table decor with these. So pulling this out, maybe more greens and yellows rather than like those deep burgundies and browns and things like that. But I mean, you definitely could do that as well. Thinking about, you know, different fabric textures. So this is quilted. Thought that would be a good one. And these are 3D embossing folders, so you need to look depending on the machine that you have. You do need a die cutting machine to use these. I think that there are some videos out there showing other techniques for using these, but none of them are really like 100%. So yes, it is an investment to get into the system. I bought my die cutting machine several years ago, and then I've just slowly built up a collection of things. Usually a lot of them I try to get on sale, like at the end of the season. or right, you know, as they're getting ready to be discontinued or something like that is how I built up my stash. But depending on the type of die cutting machine you have, your sandwich will change with the like plate system. So I have the Spellbinders Platinum 6. I will have that linked down below. I do also have the universal plate system for that, which does help you with these particular folders. These are 3D folders. So I don't have this particular one embossed, but it's not just up and down. So it's not just, you know, depressed into the paper and that's it. This has like all these variances of degrees of texture and variance. And so they are very, very chunky. So you do need to make sure you use the right sandwich. But there is quilted. Of course, we have woven, which is a good like burlap or, you know, rough linen texture. This one is intertwined. That kind of basket weave. This one's really a beautiful texture when it's done on paper. Lumber, so getting into some woods. There is some wood grain paper. And I do have a few videos on my channel. I think if you just search LindseyDecor wood, I'm sure it would come up with some of the examples of how I've used this particular one and how to really distress the paper to look like distressed painted wood. So all of these, you can just emboss the paper like I did with the stencils and just, you know, have it like this. But depending on how you like ink over the top of it or add sprays or texture paste or different things, not texture paste, sorry, sprays and crayons and things like that, it's going to give you different looks to this. But you can just use tone on tone, just running paper through these, and it adds texture to your paper. Acorns. So this one I did have a sample done and I have inked this one up. So this is one of the 3Ds and you can see, I mean, there is like texture in the depressed area. There's just tons and tons and tons of texture. Just to give you an idea of the back there. So this is what those do to the paper. It's so beautiful. Now, if I was going to use this as a journaling card, I definitely would, you know, run a sheet through here, get all my texture, and then I would have a separate piece of paper or cardstock that I would adhere to the back of it that then I could write on, because it is tricky to write on all of that texture. But I can also tear this and use it as just as layering elements and background pieces and things like that. So this is acorns. Leaf veins. So I actually like to combine this. I have a couple of leaf dies. I don't know if I included them. Yeah, I did. So like this is a die set that cuts out leaves, but it doesn't add any kind of texture. So I'll cut out the leaves and then run it through this embossing folder to give it all of that leaf texture. So, so pretty. So that's leaf veins is that one. And then foliage is just a bunch of leaves. This one's a little bit more busy, a little more difficult to see the leaf texture, I would say. I probably would use it actually on the back side. It almost looks like when you're walking down like a forest path and there's like all the leaves like pushed down into the mud and the dirt. I can smell the ferns right now as I'm describing that to you. That's what this one kind of reminds me of. So that is foliage. So those are just a few of the embossing folders that I picked out for this month. And then I have this. This is going to be dies and stamps. So this for a die, we have simple plaid. I think this was in last month's kit as well, or not kit, but what's in my cart video that I did. So some carryover. These pretty much live in my cart all the time, but especially for this style of journaling, you know, doing these deconstructed little notebooks. I like having, you know, extra file folders. I like adding the little slides, little pockets that I can stick extra cards into, envelopes, you know, all of these things are really great for adding inclusions into your kind of junk journal of sorts. I was trying to see if I had an envelope in here. I was pretty sure that I did. Oh yeah. So here is, this is using this postal die, and you can see I actually added an extra piece of cardstock to the envelope. That way I'm punching through that extra piece of cardstock and not actually losing real estate in these little envelopes because they are really tiny. And this is postal, it does come with all of these little pieces too. So if you lay these over the top of your envelope before you die cut it or after, it'll die cut a window out of the envelope. So you can change that. So I like that you can kind of see a peekaboo of what is in the envelope. I obviously die cut it after I'd already had the cards in there, so don't do what I did. And then these are just some clear stickers. So that is a fun way to add extra space into your devotional booklet. So there's postal, there is collector, and specimen. These are on the pricier side for these sets, but these are probably my most used sets. They have a ton of die pieces in them. I just use them again and again and again. So this is where it is, helpful to start maybe investing in a die cutting machine if you're going to be using dies that are shapes and things that you use again and again and again. Okay, so this is the leaf, fall foliage from Sizzix and Tim Holtz. More leaves. We have skeleton leaves. These ones are so pretty. They are very, very delicate. I've used these a ton. I love cutting these out of foiled papers, like metallic papers are really pretty. They are on the larger side, some of these. You can see that. Really lots of impact with that particular die. These are really pretty. These are leaf fragments. So these are things that I would use with the pattern papers as well. So, this would be perfect for die cutting out these leaf fragments and then maybe inking up the edges a little bit, to add a little bit more color if I wanted to. But all of these papers back here would be great for using with your dies. So that's kind of how I use pattern papers and dies in my Bible journaling, even if I'm going directly into my Bible. This is crochet. So I did use this in this little booklet. There's some of that. This was actually using a stencil to create some texture. So you can see how I use that just to add texture behind my cluster. But then this is crochet, using it just as an extra little piece on the edge of my journaling cards gives you something to kind of grab a hold of when you're flipping through your book and just adds a really pretty kind of delicate overlay. And so again, just depending on the paper that you use, you can even ink up your own paper to coordinate, more with the colors of the kit, makes it so that these can match. And then labels is just a good staple to have in there as well. And so I went ahead and threw that. A couple more here. This is Sweet Doily Set. This is a newer one I ordered a few months ago. I didn't realize how small the doily was. I thought it was a larger doily, but that's okay. Especially working in, traveler's notebook size, that littler doily actually will work well, kind of layered behind some of the die cuts and things like that. So this is an Echo Park die, Sweet Doily die set. And then these are some scrapbook.com dies. I have the nested pockets and then the nested tags. So again, going along with the idea of creating pockets that I can stick all my journaling cards, the word flashcards. If you didn't see my unboxing, I have one of these boxes from ByTheWell4God. They do still have these in the shop, I believe. I painted mine and added all kinds of details to it and then have just plain file folders in there. But I've gone ahead and separated out all of the days, their different flashcards, the freebie journaling cards. There was the postage stamp stickers. So I went ahead and cut those apart and then put them in their corresponding day. So then as I'm assembling, it's kind of assembly line. I can just pull everything out and then I know I can stick these in a pocket. I can pull them out and journal on the back of them. So this is a really great project if you don't have a lot of time, but you do have, maybe some weekends that you can sit down, create your booklet all at once, bind it, and then throughout the month you can go through and add things and do all of your journaling and study. That might work better for you than trying to study and create all at the same time. That does take a lot of time. So tags are great for sticking in pockets or even just creating, insert pages into that. And then the nested pocket. So these are both from scrapbook.com. So that's for the dies. This always ends up being the longest portion of the video is all of the stamps. So again, I don't know what is in stock and what is out of stock. Some of these are very, very old. So the idea is to go through your stash, pull out things that you have or find things that are equivalent by no means am I going to use all of these this month. This is just to kind of give you some ideas. Maybe you have a couple of them. And so go pull those out and they'll coordinate this month. And some of them, it's kind of a stretch. So in the garden, because there's lots of florals, these make great for like bottom borders, adding them even just like tone on tone. So stamping in a really light color on the back side of one of these journaling cards would be really pretty, just to add a little bit of detail if you're making your own journaling cards. So in the garden, heed your luggage. Of course, there was all of the, different little luggage pieces. This one, was more distressed and deep burgundies and oranges than this kit is. But by just changing up the colors to coordinate with the colors of this kit, then you can get some more bang for your buck out of this particular stamp set. So heed your luggage. This was the kit stamp for Take Heed. Here's a picture of what that looked like. So these were the colors of that kit. So you can see more kind of peaches and burgundies, leaning more towards the reds and browns than this month's kit, but just by coloring it, a little bit differently. So you've got all of the little luggage pieces. Going along with the farmhouse theme, there aren't any of these letterboards in the die cuts or images or anything like that. But this was one of those stamp sets that maybe you're not using a ton. Maybe you are using the letters a ton. But going along with that farmhouse look, the letterboard is very on trend with the farmhouse look. So pulling out that letterboard, and then because you get to customize what goes in it, you can customize it to match this particular kit. I did see that there was a day in the kit talking about jars of clay. And so I pulled out, this is a much older stamp set, Jars of Clay. I know it's dark and black, so it's kind of hard, to really see, but you can stamp this in any type of colors. I love this idea. I have done this actually when I first got this. I stamped it using some archival ink on some metallic paper. So then the metallic peeped through the cracks of this one. It was so, so pretty. So you could do that for, any of these. This one has a floral on it as well. So I don't think this one's in the shop any longer, but if you've got it in your stash, pull it out or check some of the Facebook groups. I know that they're, I can't even throw the name of it off the top of my head because I'm not in a ton of Facebook groups, but I know they have some buy and sell Facebook groups for Bible journaling. And so I did just see a gal who was offloading like her whole collection in pieces. So sometimes in those Facebook groups, you can find people who are selling their stash off. And so sometimes you can come across some of these older stamps. Giving is only begun. So looking at some of the containers that you could mix and match. I don't remember if there was, so you could kind of fill out and add these florals from this month's kit into these containers if you wanted to kind of go along with it. So giving is only begun. There weren't any, there's like the greenhouses and things like that in the pictures. So pull out Harvest Barns if you have it. This is definitely one of those stamps that you're probably not using with every single kit, right? It's very theme specific. I do believe this was the release where that farmhouse stencil came from, if I remember correctly. How adorable is that? And there are little chickens. I'm actually writing a devotional right now for a Bible journaling class in person that I will be teaching at the end of September, and talking about being covered by God's wings. And the imagery is, like a mama hen protecting her little baby chicks. And when they are, the whole theme of the kit is about trials and being in the wilderness and maintaining your faith. And so this idea of when we're like desperate and worried and fretting, running to God like the mama hen and letting, hiding under his wings. And so I'm planning on trying to draw a little chicken with baby chicks. Super, super cute. But this would be a great time to pull the stamp set out and get some more use out of it. Autumn doors. I'm trying to look and see. Oh yeah. So in the stickers and the die cuts, there were lots of like windows. I don't think there were any doors, but there definitely were windows and greenhouses and things like that. So, just various different farmhouse architecture. And so while these are not farmhouse, you definitely could change up the colors. So if you did this more in like a distressed farmhouse siding, if you did this in red brick instead of brownstone or something like that, you can make it look more kind of like that farmhouse theme. So, and this one does have little pumpkins and some fall foliage in it. So I thought this one would go pretty well with this month's kit. So autumn doors, trellis, lots of gardens and things like that. So this is a good background stamp. Cozy cottage. This one's a little more in the style of the painterly style that we see in the graphics. And so again, depending on the colors that you choose, you know, you can get different looks. So I thought, again, this is one of those pieces that you're probably not using every single month. So let's pull it out and adapt it and make it work for this month's kit. Be Still. I can't remember if I saw, I do think I saw maybe one little bench or something of that nature. Maybe I didn't, but you know, who says that you can't throw some flowers on there, or maybe like a little chicken sitting on a bench. I just thought that would be one that would be good to pull out and use if you have it. These ones are much older. So this is greener grass. So cute. So a little more cartoony of a cow and a pig than what is in the graphics. But again, this is one of those ones that you definitely, I'm sure, are not using constantly. So if you do have it in your stash, pull it out. It also has this great fence piece that you can repeat. Obviously, that was a favorite stamp of mine. But I don't even think I used the cow and the pig. So this would be a great time to pull those out and use them this month. Apothecary labels. So I kind of looked, I don't think necessarily that the words on these go along with the theme of this particular devotional. But when we're looking at those little curio cabinets like this, so I was thinking, you know, for all of us that are making like tinctures and homemade medicines and things like that, that these vintage little labels might be cute to kind of coordinate with that apothecary style curio cabinets that are in the release. So there is apothecary labels. These I batch make. So I'll do some like spray stain papers, or, you know, ink splatters, things like that, even your watercolors. And then I stamp them all over that paper and then fussy cut them out and just make a whole bunch of them at the same time. And then I have them as layering ephemera pieces. Notarized. I got this one out specifically for this piece here. So as I'm creating little journaling cards in my booklet, you know, this might be a good space to take some notes and just jot some ideas down. Of course, you can use all the other pieces that are in here, but notarized, that stamp there I thought would be good. Build plaid DIY. So this was one that's like 4 different stamps. And depending on how you stamp it, you can build out your own plaid. So there isn't really plaid in this kit, but I could use colors that match the kit and then have some of those, you know, textures that I think of when I think of starting to transition into fall. There is glorious plaid. So this is just one large background stamp. This would be a fun one where I do that technique where I spray the spray stains on a nonstick sheet, pick up the color with the stamp and then stamp it down. And then you get, you know, a variety of color when you stamp it. Blessed washi and texture. So we've got the houndstooth, we got little pavers, the buffalo plaid. There's even like a thatched right here. Thatched texture. I didn't even use this one. Nope, I haven't even used that one. So these are size that you can make your own washi tape. I don't have it right here, but Dina Wakley does sell a plain like mixed media tape in different widths, and it doesn't have anything on it. You can make your own washi tape. And so these would be great for stamping and make your own washi tape if you wanted, or just stamping directly onto the page. You could stamp on clear sticker paper and make the faux washis kind of similar to what you get in the sticker sheets. So I just thought this would be a good one to pull out. Cottage floral. So just a good kind of rustic floral. I love the way they did the artwork on the back of this one. Extravagant texture. I think when I was looking through here, I thought maybe some of the definitions kind of went with the study a little bit and just a good background texture. So there's extravagant texture. Going along with the hymnals, so Blessed Assurance, another good background stamp. Anticipated collage. I think this released with Son of Man, if I remember correctly. So obviously this is in like blues and purples, but if I did it in browns and yellows and that cranberry, you can go in and kind of paint in this floral if you wanted to. I thought this would be a good one to go along with it. All those different textures. So there's waffle knit. Definitely not ready to wear waffle knit here yet in Central California, but we're getting there. This was one of my favorite releases. This was from Twisted Scripture, and it had all of the like mushrooms and things, but it really has these beautiful leaves. So this whole collection or set, there would be lots of pieces from that release that I think would coordinate well this month. I love the mushrooms. Even though there's no mushrooms in this month, I was going for the leaves and the acorn there. Loved floral. So this very easily could be a sunflower. So even though it was painted in for the kit that it released with in all of these soft pastel colors, I thought this one could be like a sunflower. This looks like a succulent, but it could be, kind of those burgundies if you wanted to. So again, just by how you change up the colors. Because I do know that the floral stamp this month, Sunflower Thicket, did sell out. So there isn't another floral option. Oh no, there is. There's this one, Flowing Flowers, was released this month as well. So I'm not sure if this one's still in the shop, but maybe one to pull out from your stash if you didn't get a chance to get one of the new florals. Offer Hospitality. So this definitely has fall themes in there in those containers. So a little more close to, what we're doing this month. So that is Offer Hospitality. Healing Leaves, of course, lots and lots of leaves. It doesn't even look like I used this stamp set yet. How beautiful is that? Autumn Leaves. Obviously, we really love leaves. This one I have gotten lots of love. This is similar to the Skeleton Leaves die set, but much, much smaller in scale. This would be another one to do like a full background or stamp on the pattern papers. And then fussy cut out the leaves out of the papers, and then you don't have to do any coloring or painting. Creation in Bloom. Love this floral bouquet. This one would be really fun to stamp on some cardstock and then just kind of cut out around it and then create like a little edge pocket. I think I do have a little edge pocket. Oh yeah, something like, kind of like that. I had more. Oh, like this one. So this one I use like a die cut over a pocket, but if I stamped this on some pattern paper, fussy cut it out, and then just adhered down the two edges, then you could have a little tuck spot in your booklet. I'm hoping to be able to put my booklet together and then do like a flip through for you guys is my ultimate goal. We'll just see what happens, but Creation in Bloom, love that. So, so pretty. Autumn Blooms, so pretty self-explanatory there. Truck of Blessings. I didn't see a truck necessarily this month, but again, kind of going with the fall theme there and that country farmhouse living. Increase and Overflow. So just some more containers with fall images. There are some boots in the die cut, so you could add some florals in here if you wanted to, and kind of make your own ephemera if you wanted. So that's Increase and Overflow. Sunflower. This is an older Sunflower stamp set. So if you missed the Sunflower stamp set this time around, maybe you have this one in your stash. This is a way old. This is the old branding. This is New Growth and New Life. Obviously a much loved stamp there. They weren't even doing the examples on the background at that point. Fall Florals. So some birds, and then of course fall florals, pretty self-explanatory there. And then winter florals. I think I picked this one for these clusters right here. So there aren't any like people of this style in this kit, but I thought this would be a pretty floral cluster in the colors that coordinate with this kit. So those are all the stamps, dies, stencils, all the goodness. That's really all I pulled together. Of course, I just have my basic cardstocks and all of that kind of stuff that I'll need to assemble my little booklet, but I don't think I have anything else new in the cart. Don't forget, in the unboxing video, I did have this free PDF for you guys to download. This is a color grid using the watercolors. So if you didn't watch my unboxing, go ahead and go back and grab this. I took the 6 colors of watercolor and then made a grid so you can see the different colors that you can create with those 6 colors. This is like full strength. This is, you know, a lot of water added, so they're kind of muted out a little bit is how I did it. So this is a free PDF printable that you can grab from the unboxing video. And that is going to be it for my cart for Who You Are. So links are down below. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below for me. Check out that description box. Give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful, if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.